Welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to record our spoiler discussion for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We're not going to do a regular review because those always get copyrighted, because you show 10 seconds of footage from a Disney production. Mickey Mouse is just coming with Goofy and the goons, you know?
Yeah.
Breaking down your door.
Worse than the Mafia, I think.
At this point, yeah. According to Florida Republicans, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the Doctor Strange movie. It was highly anticipated because of what people were expecting it to be. And I think a lot of those expectations were met for some people. For other people, they weren't. A lot of things that go into this movie that don't necessarily have to do with movie making. And that's kind of the blessing and the curse of the MCU, right? Somebody said in 15 years that none of these movies are going to be able to be watched by people on television or people just flicking through the channels, because you have to see so many different movies and shows now in order to have somewhat of a grasp of what's going on. People who just watched Doctor Strange and then wanted to go out and see Doctor Strange 2, they were probably so confused. But for me, it was a movie that wasn't very offensive in terms of the things that I found wrong with it or the issues that I had with it. I mostly had fun with it. I thought it was like a nice little jolt of energy, a trip through the multiverse. Not a lot of madness, but there was a lot of multi. So for me, it's kind of a mixed bag, but I'm leaning more towards I had fun with it, so overall positive feelings.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had a good time with it too, and I think like Doctor Strange especially has become like one of my favorite characters in the MCU, so, and as well as Wanda. So having them, you know, basically be co-leads in this film, I was very excited going in. And obviously we talked about it leading up, like maybe this is going to happen, maybe we're going to see this character and all that. I necessarily don't really need that. Like if that doesn't happen and my expectations aren't met in that regard, I could still be like, okay, at least like I just want a good movie then. Like that's all I'm really looking for, no matter if there's a million cameos or zero. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. And I kind of agree with you, where I did have fun in a lot of those moments, but at times I felt like it really just wasn't, this didn't really feel like a cohesive film at times, where I feel like it did have some spots where it was a little bit jumbled. And I know a lot of people were like, you know, the 2-hour runtime isn't bad, like that's good, we don't need 2.5-hour movies, but I feel like a movie with this, with all they tried to establish and all the places they wanted to go, maybe could have used an extra like 15-20 minutes.
I agree, because I think that Doctor Strange's development in this movie is pretty much non-existent. It's there, this idea that he's lonely and that he's pretending to be happy, the burdens of being a superhero, and especially seeing all these different versions of himself where he's always the one to kind of fuck it up. So not only am I lonely, but I also might be a fuck up in my future. So how do you grapple with that? How do you live with that? But
it's like a multiverse of sadness for him.
Multiverse of sadness, yeah, it very much was. But to me, he starts off in one place, and then in the end, when Wong and him have that back and forth about, yeah, it's, you know, it's worth it though, because at least we're friends, right? And I don't even know if Wong actually likes Steven.
Wong is
it's tough love.
I was just waiting and waiting for him to be like, you could be a Sorcerer Supreme again. He is holding on to that for dear life.
Yeah, it's been 6 years since the first movie, and Stephen Strange still doesn't have that title.
Yeah.
That's his big title, man. Well, I keep thinking every time we see Wong that eventually he's going to be killed off, because how does he give up that title without dying? Because it doesn't make sense. He's the more experienced wizard. He's probably the less emotional. What I really appreciated about this movie is how much fun all of these actors were having. And I think that's something you could credit to Sam Raimi. Everyone's talking about the visuals and the gruesome kills, and those things were great as well. But the characters seem to really be embracing his directorial style. That doesn't always happen when you bring in a new director who's familiar with superhero movies but hasn't done an MCU one. But I felt like he kind of fit right in to the MCU formula, which actually takes away from what I wanted to see from a Sam Raimi movie.
Well, that's the thing when I'm talking about it being a little jumbled, because at times it is like, and I thought some of the horror aspects were really well done. The scene when Wanda is dreamwalking to alternate reality Wanda is probably my favorite scene in the movie. That was legit fucking scary. But
you know what? The more runtime could have helped scenes like that if you could just sit with them for a little bit, because it was moving too fast at times.
I agree, and I think at times they're sandwiched in between more of your traditional Marvel stuff. So it's like he had free maybe directorial freedom in those regards, but then it felt like he still had to do what he had to do in terms of like pressure from the top. I don't know if that's true or anything. That's kind of just what I felt like watching it, because you have these moments where, and I do think at times he got maybe a little bit too cute with the pans, the guitar riffs, the certain edits felt a little dated. I think, you know, he loved the Dutch angles, the close-ups with the like almost like a fish lens, like.
Yeah, even from a technical standpoint, even like, from a writing standpoint, he brought that cheese back with him.
Right, and like you can,
which I love.
I don't hate it, but I feel like when you have that, and then the rest of the movie is kind of like your typical MCU movie, it just feels out of place. Right,
it's not as harmonious as it could have been if they would have just let Sam Raimi do his thing.
Like break completely, or kind of stick to, like, you can't have it both ways. It's like, all right, you could do what you want in this scene, but then we got to go back and do what we want, and then kind of flip back and forth.
Right, and coming from the top, it feels like the decision to include America Chavez was the one where this is building towards the future of the MCU. She was a good side character in this movie, and I think Xochitl Gomez was very charismatic as that character. And the MCU, I think, needs more characters like this. The young adults, obviously they're setting up Young Avengers that can really resonate with a lot of your fan base. But I almost, if you're not going to really go crazy with the cameos and really you know, move the multiversal story forward as it pertains to Kang and Loki and the things that happen in these other projects, then just do a flat-out Doctor Strange 2. Yeah. There are plenty of stories that you could take where you don't have to connect it to these other things and really get to the meat of this character. I don't want to, you know, because people are going to, whenever there's like a young adult character who's a female, people are going to cry about it.
Yeah.
You know, she stole the spotlight from Doctor Strange. I don't think she did that whatsoever. But it's like that, and also the cameos. So it's cool to see those different characters in this different universe, but at the end of the day, those moments where they're killed, like I said, they're cool in the moment, but you don't know these characters. These characters have done nothing for me throughout my history of watching the MCU. So I feel like those little tidbits were done for, well, America Chavez is not a tidbit. Like those cameos, that was just very much for fans.
Well, you made a good point about...
Wanda's never going to kill someone who actually matters.
Yeah.
Except those bunch of, you know, no-name red shirt wizards.
It's not in our universe, so anything can really fly. Because then you could just put them back in a different...
Right, and you're so aware of that.
Yeah.
You know, the Black Bolt death was obviously the best one. That was a shocking
dude.
That was straight out of Invincible or The Boys. And even Captain Carter being fucking split in half.
Yes.
Captain Marvel, they gave her more of a, you know, we're not going to get as any more gruesome than we've already gotten. Mr. Fantastic being turned into fucking string cheese. Those are things that were cool to see, but there's no stakes. There's no emotional attachment.
Well, before we get to those cameos and some of the castings that we've were, you know, pretty much influenced by fans, or not, maybe not.
It's incredible,
but,
yeah.
But no, America Chavez, you made a great point about her after we saw the film, where she never really felt like she was wearing the weight of her backstory.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think that's true, that there's aspects of her character that they could have given us more details on. But once again, you're doing a bit of a juggling act here. Mm-hmm. So when you can't focus so much on the backstory and how she got to this point, the character's not going to feel as grounded, especially when her power is so trippy and cosmic and it's hard to wrap your head around it. It just feels like it was a Saturday afternoon for this character.
And obviously, Wanda being the villain of the movie.
Well, what do you think about that?
Quote-unquote villain.
Do you think that it ruins WandaVision like some people are claiming?
No, I don't even think she was the villain.
You're such a fucking asshole.
What did she do wrong?
You didn't see anything that was a bit villainous in this movie? Bit immoral? Questionable choices?
Not particularly. She almost gave the kids ice cream after bed. She folded, and that's not a good parenting. But other than that...
Those kids are definitely lactose intolerant.
Yeah, why didn't she want to find a reality with Vision? That's got to be disappointing for him.
Right, he's just watching from heaven.
Like,
I guess I don't matter
Wanda,
anymore.
Earth 1, 2, 3, we're all together, you bitch.
It's definitely a little clumsy going from WandaVision to this.
No, it's, well, the post-credit...
And I guess they used the Darkhold as an excuse.
that kind of corrupts the mind. They had the moment at the end when she hears the voices, so maybe that could have just triggered something else in her with the Darkhold to become like, that's another thing, like another 10-15 minutes could have used where like he goes to Wanda in the apple field, or what is presumed, like, I don't know, just put a spell on it, whatever. And then have the conversation, doesn't go the right way. If you realize that she's been lying and she knows what's going on, and it's been her trying to get America Chavez, and you kind of like, well, that's kind of a jump from when we last saw her.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, like, maybe you could have...
But I also love the decision of making her the villain.
Yes, no, I don't hate that at all. I think it's like Scarlet Witch, too, in the comics, I believe. I haven't read any Scarlet Witch comments, but from what I read, there is some back and forth with her.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and this idea that when somebody travels to our universe, and maybe their Wanda's been a good guy her entire life, where the events of WandaVision transpire and she's able to get over it and get back on the lunchboxes. Mm-hmm. Somebody travels to our universe and sees what she's done, and they say, oh, God, what happened to Wanda here?
Yeah.
People have been wondering, did she die in the end? Is that sort of a sacrifice?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because going the multiversal route would be a bit weak. You want to keep that same character, even though now the possibilities are infinite. But like I said, you have attachment to these characters that are in the 616. So it would be cheap to go another route where you bring her in and she's just a hero from another universe. You need to keep that character alive.
I don't think like, I saw a lot of people think like, oh, Wanda died. I didn't get that at all. And if she is dead, they did a bad job of having that carry any weight.
Yeah, I know they want to do a Wanda movie. They want to do the Scarlet Witch movie. But this idea of having a character out there who now it's in the MCU where she's teetered back and forth. Starts as a villain, became a hero, went back to being a villain now. And at the end of this, I guess you could say it's kind of in the middle. We don't know where her head is at, where she's going to go on from here.
And I think it's a better decision, like, with Wanda, because she is established. And I know some people who love Wanda, like, don't want to see her be a bad person, or be a bad guy, or make bad decisions. But, like, some characters, it makes sense for them to go that route a little. And I feel like with an established character like Wanda, who we've been with since Age of Ultron, like, that makes it, like, I think they carry some weight behind it. It's not like a Mordo where you're introduced to him in the beginning of Doctor Strange and by the end he's evil. That's just like, one movie arc. And I think
she's had such a good arc up until this point, so I can understand if people are kind of upset by the inconsistencies jumping from WandaVision to this movie. But, also I was talking to Marissa about the decision to make Wanda a villain in this movie. Shout out to Marissa, because I know she's listening. And she mentioned that, I think she made a good point, that Sam Raimi in the Multiverse of Madness doesn't let Wanda off the hook so easily like WandaVision did. That they very much established this is a character who would go to these lengths in order to try and save her children. And the moment where she ends up scaring her children and, from their perspective, she is now the villain, that's something that the multiverse opens up these characters to, where it's these moments where you would never be able to get these perspectives. She never thought that she would be perceived as a villain from her children, that they would just always love her. And then you have that very cathartic gut punch where you have the alternate Wanda, where she's able to understand what our Wanda is going through. And it's an idea that was established in Loki as well. So that's where the fantastical elements of superhero stories can really, like I said, pack an emotional gut punch. So, for me, I still think it was a bit clumsy going from WandaVision to this, but the performance and the characterization was so good in this movie, so I kind of give it a pass.
I think you can use WandaVision as a bridge to that if you want to. I mean, I obviously looked at it as at the end, like, she didn't find closure, but she realized her mistakes and she wasn't going to repeat them. But you can also use it as a bridge, as that's kind of her going from Wanda, as we know, to her breaking point, which leading her to be fully Scarlet Witch. So this you can rewatch it, and like, if I rewatch it again, you can maybe view it a little differently and see certain things that kind of lead to this Wanda, if you want to believe it.
Elizabeth Olsen has been eating up every role that they give her with this character, whether if it was in WandaVision, all the different roles that she was able to play in that television show, and now just going full-on villain. She was genuinely terrifying in some of those scenes. The walk that she was doing.
When the blood all over?
Right, she's got the blood all over, the facial expressions, the way that she was delivering some of those lines of dialogue. There was almost a crackle in her voice, like she was holding back tears. So the conflict within her is so present through her performance. And even when she's following them through the tunnels, like I said, she's doing that limp like she's the monster from the fucking Ring or something like that. They have the one jump scare where America Chavez screams. But like I said, I wish that there was an opportunity to sit with some of those horror moments a little bit longer instead of it having to move at such a rapid pace and jumping to the moments that are more traditional MCU flair.
Right.
Her overall presence in the movie was so much stronger than Doctor Strange's, which is a DC problem a lot of times, right? Where the villains outshine the heroes. And this was a case of the villain being so much more enjoyable than the actual hero. He's good because Benedict Cumberbatch was ripped straight from the comics, and he's an incredible, incredible actor. And I think he will be able to hold that Iron Man mantle throughout Phase 4, Phase 5, Phase 6, however long he's going to go. But once again, I felt like the development for that character was weak.
Yeah, especially the whole thing with Christine. It's nice, you know, that he holds like her so near and dear.
He's such a maybe. Yeah, I guess sometimes people can't make it work, but he's such a dick to her in the first movie.
I know. He's a dick to everybody.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, get some Strange, Doctor Strange. Come on, you're a fucking Avenger.
If they didn't say her name in the movie, I never would have remembered it. I was just, that's Rachel McAdams. Even after they said it, I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure her name's Christine?
That's weird.
She was better, though, in this one.
No, she was.
The multiversal Christine. Yeah, that was a better character than the one in the first movie.
And, like, I feel like that, like, kind of exposition via memory technology in that weird world...
Stupid.
Was pretty dumb.
Very lazy.
And I feel like you didn't really need that for Doctor Strange.
That was the most development we got for Doctor Strange,
and it was
weak. You didn't need
that for Doctor Strange because, like,
it's there.
The rest of it, yeah, it's always hanging over in every decision he makes and every interaction with Christine. And maybe even that, like, take that extra, the 45 seconds to a minute that we saw with that and give it to America Chavez. And get just a little bit more with her. Because all we got is her parents got, you know, she caused her parents to go through the multiverse, and she's like, huh. I was like, yeah, you're right, this is stupid.
Well, I also thought that the movie could have been more ambitious in the sense of using the multiverse to explore Doctor Strange's psyche. The idea of him being the one who always causes things to go wrong in mostly every universe, that's very interesting. But we only get a look at the one Doctor Strange that they had to kill off because he was too obsessed with the Darkhold, and the other Doctor Strange who was too obsessed with finding a universe where he can be with Christine, and he can't find one, so he truly is down bad. But those were only... 2 Doctor Stranges. I would have loved a movie where it's solely focusing on Doctor Strange and all these other different versions of him. Go to 10, 15, 20 different universes where it keeps being hammered home into him. You can't change.
Right.
You can't undo your mistakes.
Like,
that would have been a more interesting look at the character.
Even like the ponytail Doctor Strange, like right off the bat when he makes a decision to take America's powers for himself, that's obviously a decision that, you know, we've seen him in different circumstances, but even when Spider-Man, like, he's not afraid to kill to protect the multiverse or do something that's may seem a little immoral to protect their reality. And that's kind of his thing. But at the same time, like you said, he doesn't really, it doesn't seem like a big decision. Like, hold on. It doesn't seem like you said, like, that every Doctor Strange is doomed to fail. I never got that from this Doctor Strange, that he always fucks up and he's always going to make a decision that's going to stick with him or be the wrong decision. I never got, because so far he's made, like, the right decisions. So, like, they kind of just, instead of that being in the back of my head going into the movie, like, oh, Doctor Strange, you know, he always kind of messes up, but at the end of the day, he wants to do good, but sometimes that leads him into trouble. They told me that in the beginning. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess so now. I guess that's part of his character.
Yeah, and in this movie, he basically, like you said, is making every right decision. I don't think that there's a big mistake that he makes where you could point at him and say, oh, you fucked up there, man. I could see why none of these characters trust you. I mean, he's very much the hero. Maybe that's the point of the movie, but I thought that it could have been, you know, they set him up as such a complex character, but he's very much just the one-dimensional hero.
Well, even
for most of this movie.
What's his name? Fuck.
Mordo?
No, Call Me By Your Name, Dad.
Oh, Michael Stuhlbarg?
Yeah.
I forget. Once again, I could never tell you the name of that character in the movie.
Oh, no. He's another doctor.
Somebody on Twitter said my theater started cheering when he showed up, but didn't cheer for any of the other cameos.
Like, they like, right from the get-go, like, the opening scene at the wedding, they just established that right then and there, I think, when he's like, did you have to give him the time stone? Like, that was never in the back of my mind, like, oh, he fucked up giving him time stone.
Right, they did a better job of, in Iron Man 3, showing Tony's PTSD when it came to the Avengers movie. How does that impact your psyche as a superhero? That's something that I definitely wish they would have focused on more in this movie, because we haven't had those moments with Doctor Strange in 3 years, right? And Endgame was 2019. We saw him in No Way Home, where he seemed pretty okay. He obviously fucks up there. That's actually more in line with the Doctor Stranges they were talking about.
Yeah.
But in this movie, yeah, he's sad about Christine. And then he's happy that, okay, yeah, at least Wong's my best friend.
Yeah. If I let Rachel McAdams get away, I would be feeling the type of way also, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But then I'd be like, I'm Doctor Strange, though.
Well, these characters feel a little sad, and they want to destroy the multiverse. I feel a little sad. I just get 20 McNuggets and throw on Naruto. Yeah. Just relax. Maybe that's the idea of having power, right? You don't know until you're up there on the dragon.
I still hold the best Doctor Strange story is from the What If episode.
I would agree with that, right? I think that as a movie would have been so much more interesting. And it was also scarier.
They did and they did the evil Doctor Strange better.
Yeah. People on Twitter, I think a lot of people are projecting what they wanted this movie to be, rather than what it actually is, where they're honing in on some of these horror moments and telling people that's the whole movie. It's the scariest MCU movie. It's not scarier than Daredevil and Punisher. It's not even scarier than, I think, the final scene of Daredevil season 3 between Fisk and Matt Murdock. So it's definitely not the scariest that the MCU has gotten. Scary moments.
I think some moments in WandaVision are more unsettling.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But some of those moments do, like you said, like we talked about before, I think a lot of those moments are done well, but it's not that, like, I would have rather left this movie feeling like it had a full vision. Like, that didn't really fit well into the MCU, but on its own it's good, rather than scenes within that movie be like, that doesn't fit well in this movie. Like, I'd rather the whole movie not fit with the MCU and still be good than pick apart scenes and be like, this doesn't even fit in its own movie.
Yeah, I think for, like, the positive is that it feels like Sam Raimi really wanted to be there. It's not something that he phoned in, and that the freedom that they did give him, he exploited that freedom and delivered some really great moments. But it wasn't enough freedom for me. People keep saying that fans aren't liking this movie because it doesn't fit the MCU formula. I'll say it again. I said it about Moon Knight. I'll say it about this. It fits like a glove. It truly does. I'm waiting for that one movie that doesn't. To me, it's still like Winter Soldier feels the least MCU-y to me, if that MCU-y. Or even the first Iron Man. I don't have these huge problems with the formula. I think that
I think when they feel like we've made this point, like it all fits because it's like a series at this point,
right?
But
Doctor Strange is also a character where it doesn't have to feel that way. When you're dealing with the supernatural elements and magic, there are so many weird and wacky things you can do. Once again, going back to the comics, some of his stories get so cosmic and colorful and surreal, and it's hard to wrap your head around some of the stuff because I just wish it was weirder, you know? Like I said, a bit more hazy coming out of it.
But yeah, I guess we'll go to the cameos here. I was pretty surprised. That was, I think I like those scenes, not just solely based on the cameos, but I think it was well crafted because of what Wanda brought to it. I think that was surprising, and I wasn't really expecting any of that.
It definitely saves it from being pause for applause.
Yes.
This is what you wanted to see for all these years.
Yeah. And like just putting a Black Bolt in there, like that's kind of cool. I was not expecting, like that's, if you gave me 20 characters to list off, like who's going to be in the Illuminati, I never would have guessed Black Bolt.
Yeah, the 30 people who watched Inhumans in IMAX went crazy for that. And also, of course, the big one being Reed Richards, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. This is the internet's power.
Well, I think, did anyone in our theater react to when Christine said she worked at, what's the name?
Baxter Institution?
Yes.
I thought I heard some, Yeah, because that's something I picked up on. So I thought, okay. I also saw him trending on Twitter the day before the movie came out. That's definitely...
They revived The Office?
Yeah, there's an Office marathon going on NBC.
3. Yeah, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I think Black Bolt, the new Mordo I liked seeing him back. I think he is a character, though, that like I mentioned before, it becomes a villain at the end of Doctor Strange, and we haven't just seen our Mordo yet.
That was a good bait and switch.
Yeah.
where Mordo is happy to see Steven because the last time he did see him, they had to sacrifice him because he went off the deep end. So there's still that jealousy there. There's still a rivalry there because he holds some sort of resentment against him. So no matter in what universe, they're destined to be rivals.
That's cool. Yeah.
And Doctor Strange plays on that a bit, and he's such a great actor, so it was nice to see him back. And you hope that he does get a chance to just be the villain of one of these movies, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I may have just preferred for Doctor Strange 2.
For the
Mordo
trailers,
versus Doctor Strange.
I thought it was going to be Mordo.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? To get away from the cameos real quick, something I really did like about this movie is the way he used magic. I thought the fights were so much better than Doctor Strange 1. Like when they're riffing with the musical notes. I thought that was cool. That was something where, what is this even, how is this even possible? But it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the way he incorporated Beethoven's Fifth and some of the other classical pieces. Overall, I think the look of the magic, like I said, it was a step up from Doctor Strange and more on par with what we saw in Infinity War.
Yeah, it was nothing where I never felt that, like, in the first one, when I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, it's like a lot of the magic and the different dimensions and stuff, like, a lot was happening. I feel like this was more easily to kind of digest.
Definitely.
But it was still a little out there, so it kind of had a nice blend of that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit cleaner. Still creative, but yeah, who else did we have there? We had Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel, so that was also cool to see, and that's also obviously Haley Atwell coming back as Captain Britain.
Yes.
Those are actresses who are probably never going to get chances to play these characters again.
Well, that's why, like, in the fight scene, when first of all, Wanda taking away his mouth and just imploding his brain was fucking awesome.
This shit was nasty.
And then I would have liked to see more Reed Richards, but that just leads me to believe that we're going to get Reed Richards very soon.
Yeah, you made a point that all of these characters do exist as different people in our universe.
Right.
So it's not the Peter Parker alternates or variants where it's one's Garfield and another one is Toby. They all look like people from our universe. So maybe Krasinski is the Reed Richards in the MCU.
Or it could be a different one. Loki has many different versions of Loki. So
I hope it's Krasinski.
Yeah.
He looked good as the character for those lines that they gave him. The nerdy leader that Reed Richards is. I thought he felt that he fit that role beautifully.
Yeah.
The internet was correct.
I would have liked to see him, though, like, just stretch a little more. He only does that one move.
Well, they were definitely like, we don't have the budget for this.
Yeah.
We're spending so much money on just paying Patrick Stewart.
It's like we're gonna see him in the future, so we don't have to really spend time. Let's give Haley Atwell a time to shine as Captain Britain in live action, because we probably won't ever get that again.
That shit was so cool with the jetpack.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that fight. It's funny, we had the same thought, that out of everyone who's left standing, it's Captain fucking America.
Yeah.
Even when it's Captain Britain in this alternate universe, they always just beef this guy up. Everyone else gets nerfed when they're fighting against Cap. She really said I could do this all day and then just got split.
Yeah. And then Captain Marvel, and like her, Lashana Lynch's Captain Marvel, like, obviously we have Brie Larson, so like I feel like them being at the end and having the most time to shine and fight against Wanda was kind of just like, let's just have fun with these characters because we're probably not going to see these versions again. We'll have Reed Richards. Maybe we'll have Inhumans. I think, but for that, it's kind of like, that's more than enough for that show.
Oh, my goodness,
to get the same actor and bring it back, like, it's like, all right, we're doing a lot. We're doing you a huge favor.
The Snoop Dogg meme when he's celebrating in the courtroom.
Yeah.
That's when you beat the non-MCU canon charges. We're here, baby.
Yeah.
Obviously, Patrick Stewart being in this one was something that was huge for a lot of fans, because I don't know if this confirms that the X-Men now exist in the MCU, but they exist in the MCU multiverse. Mm-hmm. And in this alternate universe, where it looks like they had a lot of the same characters, there's Charles Xavier. And his death, I thought that moment was actually really surreal and spooky when it switches to the white screen and he's inside of Wanda's mind trying to save this alternate Wanda, and then he just gets his fucking neck snapped. Don't show that in the trailer, though, Marvel. That's not enough to bring people to the theaters. Hinting towards Patrick Stewart's voice, because we know that, we can pick up on that, but the general audience doesn't know what the fuck that is.
No,
it just sounds like a British guy.
And the people who are excited for that, and we're going to see this movie anyway.
Right, that would have been such a cool reveal, because you notice that there's a spot missing.
Yeah.
And then he comes in on the wheelchair, and I thought the moment that he had with Doctor Strange was very sweet, doing for Doctor Strange what he's done for so many heroes in the past. And once again, his brutal fucking death.
Yeah.
I do feel a bit conflicted about his appearance, though, because even though he's not the same Professor X from Logan, there's something so special about that being his last time on screen. Now it's not.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so
true.
against Robert Downey Jr., even if it's an alternate version or a flashback. I want that to be the lasting moment, but Patrick Stewart never says no.
Yeah. And I think we can assume at this point that X-Men, Fantastic Four, Fox properties are just multiverse now.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. I still think that there's a chance Hugh Jackman's going to show up in one of these one day. He seems to be more adamant on let Logan be the last time, but that money be talking.
So if we get fucking Miles Teller variant.
Oh, no. Dude, imagine if it was fucking Miles Teller. That would have been hilarious, actually.
I don't know, like, it's different because Andrew Garfield, obviously those movies weren't great, but it's still Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate Miles Teller.
It's just him from Top Gun.
Yeah. But, like, he's not even good in those movies.
No.
Like, Andrew Garfield is good as Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, that Fantastic Four doesn't even exist in an alternate universe. I love when they asked Jamie Bell recently
Chris
in an interview.
Evans' torch would have been cool, though.
Yeah, well, they asked Jamie Bell. They were like, would you reprise your role as the Thing? And he was like, I don't think anybody wants to see that. But yeah, I thought that if the movie was a bit more ambitious and really took advantage of the multiversal format, because coming off of Everything Everywhere All at Once, I was thinking to myself, this is as creative as you're going to get with this concept. I don't need all of these different cameos to have major impacts on the story. But I thought that, like when they're traveling through the multiverse and it's moving at whiplash speed, you don't know what's happening. The movie could have been more ambitious and used some of those potential cameos in just snapshot ways, things that you blink, you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I thought that they didn't do such a great job with this ambitious premise. They travel to a new universe and the most creative thing they can think of is you walk on red.
That would confuse me. But yeah, we only really spend time in one universe.
Right. It bothers me when you have a premise that
I guess two, the broken universe, but still.
Right, in the Paint universe, But
we don't.
Sometimes it's almost better when you travel to a universe that's nearly identical to ours, but there's something a bit off. That's almost more disturbing than going to a universe when you're just paint. But, the dreamwalking throughout was a cool concept. That was one that was a bit trippy. And when it ties in together with the opening scene and those final moments where he reanimates his own corpse. So he's dreamwalking in his corpse. That was a really cool visual. Once again, Benedict Cumberbatch was great at playing the monster. It was his turn to be this freaky creature now, trying to save the day. And it's a cool hero moment. Once again, a better use of the magic. But when it came to the multiverse and the ideas that were presented there, I felt like it was still lacking. Like I said, that's one of those things where I'm reacting to something I wanted my mind to be blown. I wanted to be way more confused. And way more overwhelmed by everything that was happening in a good way. And that's sometimes very difficult to pull off.
It's like, I don't feel like I have to watch this again. I will, but like, it's like...
Yeah, I need to rewatch it and pick up on some things and Easter eggs and little details that further develop the themes and the plot.
I'm sure
there's not a lot there.
I'm sure there might be, but like...
Probably is, yeah. We're stupid.
But leaving the theater, I wasn't like, I gotta go see that again. I gotta miss...
Like, leaving Everything Everywhere All at Once was, I need to not only watch this in theaters again, but I need a remote to be able to pause it and rewind. Because there's so many moments, the editing, the creativity, the visuals, that you want to just go back and experience again. So this definitely, from that standpoint, didn't match the creativity of that movie. And they're similar, man. So many of these movies are using the multiverse now to tell stories.
That Wanda montage edit was wacky. You know what I'm talking about? When she's first dreamwalking, and it's like zooming in on her face, and her face is there, and then there's another Wanda here.
Yeah, that was cool. You didn't like that?
No, it was a little like...
You know what was a good edit? When he tried to trap her in the mirror dimension and she turned it into water?
Yes.
That was fucking freaky. Those moments were scary too, when she's trying to find them through the mirrors. Ooh, you're nasty. You're a mean little witch. You're still backing her up. You're a sick fuck. Right, but even, America Chavez, you need to control this power.
If you think Wanda was right, you were a sick fuck, me in a hospital bed.
Yeah, it's you as KD after his surgery. When Doctor Strange makes the point, you've been sending us everywhere we need to go, so you do have a control of your power. Bit of lazy writing there.
Yeah, at the end, like, I didn't think... like her moment at the end could have been better, where she kind of gets this confidence and she has control now.
Yeah, why didn't they have her just fuck her up?
Wanda?
No, America Chavez, right? Wanda's so overwhelming with her power in this that it would have been a great moment to see another character just beat the crap out of her, you know?
But you can't fucking beat the shit out of 5 of the most powerful people in the multiverse and then just lose to a kid.
She's pretty powerful. Give her the Deku punch.
No, she can't handle one for all yet. She got to learn that. It's like Deku, like,
well, at the
4
end, they were
seasons.
like, no, you've mastered it, you know, because we need to wrap this up now. I do like the star effect. That was cool.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. She had a cool vibe to her. I wonder if she's going to be a fan favorite moving forward.
I think so. I think like they're definitely setting up the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
So you can see now you have Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye now, America Chavez, Spider-Man. I don't know. Is he ever in it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that could definitely be a route that they go.
Miss Marvel,
Marvel, right?
You have the opportunity for Young Avengers.
Wanda's kids, if they manage to mess with the multiverse here. Isn't Young Loki also part of Young Avengers?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a
Maybe
lot of
some
things
of the
that
XMen.
they can do.
They have kids, right?
Yeah. Reed Richards. That was also, I think, pointing towards Young Avengers, saying that he has kids.
Yeah.
That was a badass line. She's like, "You're married?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, they're going to be raised by a single parent."
Dude.
She really... That is crazy, though, to think about Reed Richards and Seuss. Like, she just found out her husband got turned into a fucking cheese string.
That multiverse is fucking destroyed. They don't have their Avengers anymore.
Yeah.
Or they're Illuminati.
They're Illuminati. They were living good with Black Bolt. This man could take care of anything.
He's so OP, man.
He's so OP, yeah.
I can't, I'm glad he's not around. That's all he has to do, whisper.
It's funny that he was originally supposed to be Vin Diesel playing that character.
Family. I know they did nerf him a bit in the Inhuman series, but he's still fucking a single whisper.
You know, I thought that we were going to see alternate Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, when they were, pulling back the curtains on those seats. The Illuminati, obviously, the membership has changed over time, like every team. That would have been cool. I still think that's going to happen, and that's going to piss people off too, because he's got such a great ending at the end of Black Panther, that they're going to bring him back in some multiverse where he's good.
Well, I think that's, if not him, that's how they're going to recast him.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen, please. He'd be so good.
He is just a massive human being.
Yahya.
Everything he's in.
Yeah, he's just
like
fucking boss.
Yeah. He's someone you look at, it's like, yeah, he's a superhero.
Obviously going to be more physically imposing than Chadwick Boseman, but I think he'd be really great because he's such a talented actor.
Also,
he'd be a great Superman.
Yeah. Also, I was a little shocked. Not shocked, but like I thought we were gonna get like an Iron Man mention,
right?
Or like an Iron Man, not a variant, but like maybe I thought I saw something about Riri Williams, but I guess I was wrong. So I was expecting that the whole time. Yeah,
I was also expecting maybe Doctor Strange as Iron Man, because I know they filmed that for Endgame, him in the Iron Man armor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was an alternate universe or he just straight up puts on his own armor. But, there's the alternate where Tony Stark becomes the Sorcerer Supreme and Stephen Strange builds the Iron Man suit. So that's something that goes back to the comics. I thought maybe we would see something like that it was going to be Strange on the Illuminati, but he's just Iron Man. There were rumors for Endgame that Robert Downey, there would be an alternate Robert Downey who's the Sorcerer Supreme. I thought that was also a possibility for this movie as well. But those are things ideas in my head that doesn't ruin the movie for me whatsoever.
Just fun to talk about.
I actually, like I said on this review, I would have preferred none of the multiversal stuff and just honing in on Doctor Strange. Give me a nice, solid Doctor Strange story. I'm still really holding out for a Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom team-up when they had to save Doctor Doom's mom in hell. That would be such a great movie, man. Science, magic, team-up. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I like how science and magic kind of work together in this universe.
Yeah, they've always done that.
Like not one of them doesn't disprove the other,
right?
Or discredit the other,
and then there's some overlap.
Yeah, Like even like Peter and No Way Home using math to thwart the magic. And that kind of shows, oh, magic does rely on some sort of physics.
Yeah, and then there's also the magic of dreamwalking, where there's, the science behind this is, you can't even understand it. It's more supernatural.
Yeah.
So they've done a better job of that, because at first it was, oh, magic's just science you don't understand yet. And Doctor Strange is like, no, this shit is just magic.
I just made water into wine.
Right, you can go into the chemical properties. Or
2,000 years ago, they would have made a religion after me.
Right, or they would have killed you.
Wait for that. They're so scared to tackle our religions. In all these movies, it's like the Norse gods, Greek gods. What about Jesus? First Sorcerer Supreme. Come on. Make that canon.
Our gods are boring.
Yeah.
We don't have rosters like those old gods, man.
No,
they had teams.
Just one.
Yeah, we were very top heavy.
Jesus. Charlize Theron.
Oh shit! Yeah, look at that. I still haven't looked up who her character is. Somebody told me some of her backstory, and it relates to Doctor Strange's feelings of loneliness.
So apparently, Clea, this is just an article that I'm just trusting is right. She's like the Sorcerer Supreme of like the Dark Dimension. And I think she's the niece of Dormammu.
It looked like Dormammu there in the background, right? Wasn't he there when she opens that portal? I also heard that there are comics where they get married.
Yeah, there is like a love interest between the two.
Right. I mean, those two actors together, that is just too sexy for, I think, a lot of people. Because they're both so... The sexiness that they carry is so adult sexiness, They're just mature. They're grown-ups. They go out, nice glass of wine, dessert, come back home, hate each other. One of those types of relationships, I could see the tension there. I need a marriage story between those two, but with magic.
That's Doctor Strange 3. Written and directed by Noah Baumbach.
Written by Greta Gerwig, directed by Noah Baumbach. Yeah. But like I said, they get everybody in this universe. You can't turn down that Marvel money. I still think it was
she does fast franchises, so I don't think Marvel's too out of her.
Right.
What she would do.
It was such a missed opportunity not to make her Captain Marvel. I think Brie Larson's a good actress, but she would have been so much better. But we'll see how they use her in this role.
Yeah, that's pretty cool when she just sliced open a dimension.
Yeah, and the second end credit scene may be one of my favorites of all time, because I love when they do that. When people sit around, they stay, and then they just fuck with you.
Yeah,
everyone gets so disappointed.
Well, also Third Eye Doctor Strange.
Third Eye Doctor Strange, yeah,
it's gross. I don't like it.
I don't like that either. I just want to poke it. I want to fucking stab it.
Can he has vision? Like, what if you had another eye on your forehead? Like, how would you see?
I bet you would know. It's one of those things that you just know. You know what was nasty? When he poked out the monster's eye.
Yeah, that was gross.
All right, guys, that is our Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler discussion. We didn't get a chance to watch it with Teddy because he actually had a baby. Missed the movie for a baby. It's a dedicated father there, but he will be back, and so will we next week with some podcasts and
his
reviews.
Wife to have given birth while he was watching Doctor Strange and his phone's off. Just get out of the movie. He's like, oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, 17 missed calls. All right, guys, see ya.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Beau says, you keep the lights on in the fridge, so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our Patreon supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.